Now what's interesting is if you just reference a cell, you'll actually get the value for that cell. For example, if I type the equal sign as if I'm starting a formula, and then I reference cell H3 and hit enter, I get the same value as cell H3. And what's interesting is I can use this particular cell, which is nothing more than a link to another cell. That means it doesn't really have any real data in it, it just basically references the cell H3. I can use this particular cell in a formula. For example, I can type 0.10 times J22 and get a result. And that result is 10% of 519,996. This technique of linking to other cells is especially useful when you have a long spreadsheet or a wide spreadsheet and you're trying to build formulas that reference cells that are way out of view. At this point, our screen is getting a little bit cluttered, so what I'm going to do is start a new fresh sheet by clicking on the Insert Sheet icon, and then I'll go back and copy the data set that I'm working with here. Fresh sheet. Looks like I need to expand out the column for United Kingdom revenues. Next, I want to talk about some other operators that you'll use pretty often, and these are called the comparison operators. The comparison operators are the equal sign, the greater than, the less than, and the greater than less than. As their name suggests, these particular operators compare two values against each other. For example, if I wanted to test whether the revenues in period 2 were greater than the revenues in period 1 for the United States, I could enter in the following formula. Equals the revenues in period 2 greater than the revenue in period 1, and press the enter key, and it's going to return true. Comparison operators always return either true or false. So it is true that the revenues in period 2 are greater than the revenue in period 1. And you can imagine that if I replace this greater than operator with a less than operator, I would get false. Now the less than greater than operator you see here in cell J15 basically means not equal to. So if 918 is not equal to 519, what would that be? That answer would be true, because it is not equal to. Now as you look at this, you may think, well, these comparison operators just aren't that useful. I can clearly see that 918,000 is greater than 519,000, and that's basically true. If you had 10,000 rows of data, this may actually be somewhat useful, but the reality is, by themselves, comparison operators just aren't that useful. But it is important that you are aware of what they do, because you'll often use them as operators in other functions such as the if function. And we'll talk about functions in a later topic.